Hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Buy Round Interview Show. This is going to be an absolute cracker. Plenty to get stuck into. I've got a lot of ammunition on this bloke.
I'm nervous.
None other than Josh Mansour. Josh, how are we doing?
James, it's good to be here. I'm very well. I only saw you a couple of days ago. You were on my show, but now you've got the honour to be in the driver's seat, mate.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Well, mate, obviously a terrific footballing career, but then you come in and I can tell how much you've changed. You were saying like, oh, what's the bounce like in here? And you've got all these industry terms. I don't know if you know what they mean. Like, I didn't go to your podcast and be like, oh, what's the bounce level like? What's the light readings going on? Like I just get in, get it done, crack on. But you seem like you're a bit more invested with all these fancy industry terms.
Jimmy, I'm all in or nothing. That's the honest truth.
Okay.
Like I've been really enjoying this kind of journey now with podcasting and interviewing and just learning about the lighting, the sound checks, the camera angles, scripting. There's so much that goes behind it, and I've got so much respect for guys like yourself doing interviews and how much research goes behind it. So,
well, I don't know about that. Yours sounds like a real professional. Sometimes just wing it, turn the lights on, and hope for the best.
I've done like a bit of research with guys like Joe Rogan. I don't know if you've seen his first ever podcast. Like it was just like of a computer screen, and it was absolute shambles. Like he got his producer in the shot before the interviews actually started, and then he goes away. I was like, oh, so messy. I think the world of podcasting has gone leaps and bounds to like a few years ago. It
is. It's so professional now. It's a new medium of how people get their content. I love it because it's not time restricted. I like that time.
Same.
We could talk for an hour and we're not going to clip it up and do half an hour show.
I could talk underwater, so I've never had that problem, which is good. So.
But yeah, I really enjoy it, and I think even think about our own journey here at the Buy Round, where we began, the idea, and Charlie and Tony were like, we need to get cameras. I was like, yeah, but it's a podcast. They're like, no, we got to film it. I was like, why? No, YouTube. I was like,
I was the same.
What are we going to put it on YouTube for? Like, what? Like, that's how people get their content. Obviously, the socials, Instagram, they're like, we need it for TikTok. I'm like, what? That's just people dancing. It's like, no, this is how people are consuming their content. And fair enough, I'm not going to argue with them. So I just come in and.
Do you watch much podcasts? Do you listen to much podcasts yourself?
I do actually. Yeah, I do enjoy it. I drive a lot, so it helps with the journeys. Joe Rogan. Stick to football. The rest is politics.
Politics?
Yeah, the real science of sport. That's a personal favourite of mine. Really enjoy that. A couple of comedians, Two Bears, One Cave.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So you've definitely immersed yourself in the podcast world.
Like a little bit of Malcolm Gladwell.
There's just so
Revolution. Something history. Malcolm Gladwell that he does. Revisit. Can't remember. Yeah. No, something on history, and they go through old story, not like deep history, but like events that have happened and re-look at them through a new lens. There was one actually on these Toyota cars, right?
Yeah.
And Toyota, they recalled all these vehicles because they thought that the brakes weren't working.
Ooh.
But they look back at it, and it was actually the driver's fault. They were hitting the accelerator instead of the brake, and they crashed. People lost their lives. It's insane.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh.
They looked back and they investigated it, and they basically found that the vehicles weren't at fault. It was human error. But Toyota, the company, still took responsibility because as a company, they didn't want to be in the position of going, well, our cars are fine. It's just the fact that and a lot of them were rental cars. So like people not used to knowing where the pedals are. There's actually a very distressing 911 call of this person driving going, the brake's not working on my car. The brake's not working on my car. And then they crash and ultimately pass away. And it's like, look, listener discretion. But it's like, where do you go as a company? Like, do you say, look, drivers caused this, it's not our fault, but they took the position of, no, we need to take responsibility, even though they knew they weren't at fault.
That's an interesting one.
It is.
It's pretty grim. But
it is very grim, but it's like, well, these are, I guess it's a predicament that would be very tough to deal with.
I wouldn't want to make those decisions, to be totally honest with you.
But the real science of sport, find that fascinating, all the stuff around like technology and shoe, concussion.
High performance podcast is outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
So a lot of that sort of stuff really tickles my fancy and gets the brain and helps me as well, because, you know, I'm listening to it in a different way. I'm sure you're the same. You obviously you want to listen to what the guest has to say, but you're also listening to how people present and the style of questioning, and
it's like the segmenting as well, allowing your guests to talk, kind of navigating where the interview actually goes as well. Like, just so much into it. I never saw before. Like, I retired 4 or 5 months ago, and now that I've picked up so much with just doing this kind of stuff, interviewing and podcasting. But yeah, it's been good.
Before we get into just exactly what you're up to now, your claim, and this is not the only person, I've met you before.
I've met you. I remember our first time meeting each other. Actually, I remember it. I mentioned to you the other day.
Because I don't think this is actually meeting, so like bumping into each other on a night out when obviously alcohol is involved. I don't classify that as meeting each other.
Can I say this story again?
You go for your life, mate.
This great King's Cross nightclub where most of the young people can't experience now, unfortunately. Dragonfly. I was at South at the time, just a young buck coming through, and I saw Sammy Burgess there, someone that I looked up to, and you know, saw him, had a good time, had a few drinks with him, and then here comes along James, and I went to go introduce myself, and he's like kind of like just looked at me funny and just like turned his back and was trying to get Sam's attention, and I was just like standing there like third wheel, and he's full turned his back on me, and I'm like, I guess that's my cue. I was rattled. I was so rattled.
Mate, you know what?
You were steaming, mate.
Oh yeah, of course, mate. Like, mate, Jeremy Latimore holds on to a similar experience in the same nightclub. Oh, I've met you before, have you? When? Oh, at this, you brushed me. Like, what? Like,
that's 2 witnesses now.
Holding on for things from 2012 to this time.
Like, he does know how to hold
even you say, like, oh, just let it go. Don't even need to bring it up. But no, you're here, you bring it up. You brought it up last week. We've met before. It's bullshit. I reckon you're both in cahoots to try and make me look like this ignorant prick. And I'm actually a really nice guy, especially when I've had a beer. I'm a lovely drunk. I never used to be a good drunk. I'm a lovely drunk now.
Yeah.
Got a lot of time for everyone. So Sauce, you made the decision to retire from the game 4 or 5 months ago.
Yep.
What was behind that decision? Because you were playing for the Newtown Jets for a little while there. What was the decisive factor in your decision to hang up the boots?
I'll rewind it back a bit, just early last year. So I left Souths. I wasn't re-signed by the club, and I was kind of in, rugby league wilderness. I didn't really know what I was going to do with myself. There was talks of me going overseas. I had a couple of premature chats with Gus Gould as well, but they had a pretty full salary cap, and there weren't many rosters available at the time. So I ended up going overseas to the World Cup. Played there for Lebanon, went to the quarterfinals, which is an extraordinary feat for the club and the team, I should say, the national team. And I come back and I still had no club. So I was starting to get a bit nervous. And I think my management wanted to kind of push me towards overseas. But when I came back, I found out my wife was pregnant. So I don't know. I don't think I was kind of... I didn't want to uproot my family and take them overseas, especially my young family. I didn't think I was that selfish enough to do that and make that decision. So I rejected that kind of offer and decided just to kind of play Reggie's for Newtown Jets. It was just a couple of conversations that led up with a couple of mutual friends that led me down to the assistant coach. And I was having, I kind of found my love for rugby league again, playing for Newtown. 2022 was when... it was a bit of a tough year, but I kind of lost my passion for rugby league. And when I played for Newtown, it was such a proud club. The fans were great. My teammates were outstanding. And we ended up playing. I played there for most of the year. And I got, obviously the season's finished and kind of was in a similar position at the end of like after the World Cup, and I was still in wilderness, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I knew Newtown wanted me to play again, but no disrespect to Newtown, but I didn't feel like I was a reserve grade player. I had higher ambitions, and I wanted to kind of have another crack at NRL. But every time I tried, I felt like I was just kept on reaching a roadblock. Like I feel like I was going a step forward, I was always going 2 steps backwards, and I was just like, you know what, like just kind of had enough of that. You know, I just wanted to. I was pretty content. I had a lot of reflection in that time as well, and you know, I feel like the thing for me was the hardest thing for me was I always thought like the fairy tale finish, like, you know, being around my teammates, around the club, hand in hand with my family, cheering, like clapping on the fans, thanking them for all the support they've shown me. But unfortunately, that was hard to come to terms with. I didn't get that opportunity, and you know, it was just in a room similar to this, and it was just myself, camera, and my wife sitting there, and it was pretty lonely at the time. But as soon as I kind of made that announcement down the barrel to the camera, it took a lot of stress off my shoulders, and I was happy with the decision. I was content with the decision, and I got to look forward to life after football.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. You talk about that, about how we finish things, because like as a culture, we have ceremonies and the celebration of a fantastic career, that sporting career coming to an end. It usually does involve a build-up and a form of ceremony, and we do that because I think there's a reason. So do you feel as though there's an element of your retirement missing?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%. You know, like even when I retired, like it wasn't like, oh, congratulations on your career. Like it was none of that.
Like in front of the crowd or in front of you.
Not only that, but even like with my close circle of friends, like I don't feel like they understood like what retiring actually meant for me, and how hard it was to come to that decision. And there wasn't real like, you know, a reflection of like my career in terms of with my circle of friends. Like within my family, yes, but not like I didn't really get that ceremonial kind of goodbye to the the greatest game of all in my eyes, and a game that I played since the age of 10. So coming to terms with that was very hard, but you know, it's a decision I definitely don't regret, because I'm very happy where I am now.
Yeah, it is that almost coming to terms with the realization that this thing that's been a huge part of your life and probably all you've ever known, like you've had a few businesses on the side a little bit, and you've had other interests, but you know, the one constant in your life is rugby league, and knowing what you're going to do. You turn up on a Monday and...
Well, it wasn't just our job, Jimmy. It was like, it was our passion.
Yeah, it was like,
it's just saying goodbye to your passion was very hard to let go. Like there's some athletes, some players like, you know, rugby league, they were gifted with rugby league. They were talented, you know, everything worked out for them. But for me, like I had to work really hard to make a career and a living out of rugby league. Rugby league, playing in the NRL was my way out of like all my troubles I had as a child. And like I wasn't blessed with, you know, a lot growing up. I saw a lot of shit growing up where I've kind of like threw in a safe and threw at the bottom of the ocean, where I don't want to kind of bring up again. But playing rugby league gave me my life. It actually gave me everything that I have in my life. And just to say goodbye to that was so difficult. Like I remember I was making calls to so many people close to me, like Cameron Ciraldo, Ivan Cleary, those guys I really looked up to and really guided me throughout my career. Like Cam was one of the first players that really took me under his wing when I played at Penrith. He eventually became my assistant coach, and someone that I always like looked to, because like assistant coaches were almost like counsellors if you think about it. And Ivan was the first one that gave me my debut jersey, and I always like just called him just to find validation on, you know, if I can play on or not. And it was. I kept on getting the answer. The signs kept pointing to retirement, and then once I actually did it, again, like it was a bit of a relief.
Yeah. Well, you spoke a little bit there about your youth and how rugby league was an avenue out. What was it like for you growing up? Because you're the son of two parents from areas where rugby league isn't a thing. They've migrated to Sydney. You're born, and this new sport to them suddenly becomes an interest in their son. So how did that all come about, and what were the conversations like at home? And I'm assuming you were the one in pursuit of this game, this new sport that's, from the outside looking in, like I know what it's like because I come from Liverpool where rugby league doesn't exist, and the perception is you guys are nuts. So, or what's that? Like how, like it's too violent, it's too extreme. What was it like for you growing up with all that going on?
Yeah, so both my parents born overseas. My dad born in Lebanon, Beirut. Came over when he was 17 years old. Same with my mum. She was born in Portugal, a little island called Madeira. Same place where Cristiano Ronaldo was born and resides. I don't know if there's no relation. I like to claim it. But yeah, they both come over when they were 17, met here. Had no idea about rugby league. Growing up as a kid, I was very active. Obviously, mum's side, Portuguese, soccer's pretty much religion in her culture. And, laced up the boots, played soccer when I was 4 years old. And then when I reached 10 years old, like all my friends played rugby league. No one played soccer. I was the only one that played soccer. And told my parents that I don't want to play soccer anymore. I want to play rugby league. I want to play with my mates. And it was a bit of a hard decision because my parents always encouraged me to play sport. Like that's definitely definitely got that from my parents. But I remember to this day, like the moment I trained for the first time rugby league. I had this seed planted in my head, and I just wanted to play in the NRL. I was so invested into this dream, like I fully manifested it. And you speak about manifestation these days and what that's like. I believe it's something that if you truly believe in something, you put all your time and energy to lead you down that path. And I did whatever I could to make that dream come true. And, like other things I had to sacrifice. Unfortunately, it was my studies at school. Like I'll be honest, that's a bit of a regret of mine. Like I did put that second best because I was just solely invested in trying to make this dream come true. But for my parents, they definitely helped me try and pursue that and make that dream become a reality.
So they were supportive of you transitioning out of soccer, football into the sport of rugby league. There wasn't a backlash there.
No. Like, normally, immigrant families, they put all their time and resources into their academics, but my parents were the complete opposite. So, I was very fortunate enough to, my parents obviously driving me down to training and stuff. Like I came from a broken home. So like my parents, like they probably didn't see eye to eye in that sense. But when it came to me and my dreams, they did whatever they could to kind of help me achieve that.
Yeah. It's funny that, and it's hard to know what the advice to give to the general population is. So I think most people, they need that education as a background.
Yeah, for sure.
But there are some people where they need to go all in at something in particular, like sport. Now, for every Josh Mansour, there's plenty of people that went all in and failed, but at least they gave it a crack, and they don't look back and go, well, maybe if I'd have put a bit more into it. And I think when I look back and reflect, it's like I needed to be all in. Yeah, it needed to consume me, because if I didn't, I wouldn't have made it. And then even during my playing days where people go, oh, you got to study. It's like, no, I need to be watching as much tape as possible, thinking about the game. Yeah. I can't be distracted. And so for some, it's not for everyone. Some just switch it on and off. Some dial it up, dial it down. Some are just all in, no matter what. And I think speaking to you, that seems like what you are, and it really worked for you. And without that, like if you'd gone half in, you probably wouldn't have had the career that you did.
Definitely not. No, not a chance in the world. And if you look at my trajectory to the NRL, like you'd think I'd be pretty naive to think I was going to actually make a career out of it. Like I was just coming up with so many like roadblocks, like through the junior system at Canterbury, didn't get much look in there. I had to really go looking for it, and it all happened by chance. Like I think it was 18, and I think it was a friend told me there was an open tryout for North Sydney Bears, who at the time were the South's reserve grade team.
Yeah, wow.
And I go, yeah, why not? If that day didn't work out for me, I definitely wouldn't have a career in rugby league. No chance in the world. Like I rocked up, and I remember there was like all like groups of mates together, stuff like that. I rocked up with my mum. Didn't even have the right paperwork, and we ended up working it out on the day, ended up playing a couple of games, and the coach of the reserve grade team, Wayne Lampkin at the time, the third game was about to be played, and he just tapped me on the shoulder. He goes, "Oh, you don't need to play." And naturally, the first thing in my head was like, "Fuck!" Like I blew my chance. Like this was it. Like it is what it is. You know, what can I do? I was pretty miserable. And then he goes to name the players that got picked out of those sides, and I was the first one picked. And I was a bit shocked because I didn't know how to take it, because I've never been picked for any of the junior reps at all. And all of a sudden, I was picked. And then I was always the type of person where if you believed in me, like I will do whatever I can to repay that belief.
Yeah.
I would go bounds to repay that. I'll work my absolute ass off. And I've done the preseason with them. I've done a couple of trials. I'm impressed. And the biggest trial that I impressed in was when we played Canterbury. And Canterbury back then were just unbeatable in reserve grade. They had so much depth, so much first grade experience, scored a try, assisted a try, and we won 18-6. And Mark Hughes, who was the recruitment manager of Souths at the time, took notice of me, and he gave me the ultimatum. He goes, "Do you want to come play at Souths under 20s, or would you want to stay in the reserve grade system here at Norths?" And I opted to go play 20s. I thought it was a bit more connected with Souths as a club, and things just started happening for me. I just kept on making steps towards making my debut.
Yeah, it's quite the story, and we will pick it up again in a moment. But we sort of segued a little bit there. But I just want to get in terms of your retirement and what you're up to now.
Yep.
We talked about podcasting.
Yeah.
Mate, you recently had Nick Kyrgios on.
Yeah.
Like, can you talk to us about what your podcast's about, where we can check it out, and just some of the fantastic guests that you've had on, and just how it all started for you on a personal journey?
Yeah, so it's called the Let's Trot Show. It's myself and Josh Adokar's apparel business. So Let's Trot apparel is owned by Josh J, owner of Shoe Grab, and Mario Tartak, who's manages Fox. And I met Jay by chance early last year, just at this at the cinemas, and we've been mates for quite a while. And we were just talking, and he offered the idea, "Would you ever do a podcast?" And I'm like, to be honest, I never really put too much time into it. Like I don't know. I feel like it's something I'll definitely want to experiment. Definitely something that I want to try. Let's catch up. Let's see if we can make something work. So we caught up a couple of times, did a few whiteboard sessions on what we wanted to do with the podcast, how we envisioned it. And my vision was always to kind of tap into all different types of cultures, genres, all walks of life, and just basically storytell, learn about their story, learn about their successes, their hardships, and what I could give my audience, tips and tricks of what they and what those, relevant people, guests have used to kind of propel themselves in their life. And I'll be totally honest with you, Jimmy. I just threw myself completely in the deep end. I had no practice whatsoever. I reckon we met 3-4 times until we actually pulled the trigger and done our first episode. And the first episode was with Foxy, of course. And it was around the preliminary final. And that all happened in 2 weeks. And I was so hesitant because I'd never done a podcast before. Been in the driver's seat as an interviewer. Never done a script before. Didn't know about camera angles, lighting, studio, all that stuff. And we haven't taken a back step since. It was just been full throttle. And I've really enjoyed it. Like, I've obviously been able to leverage off my relationships with, all the athletes predominantly in the game. But also like guys like Jeff Finnick, boxing royalty here in Australia, Nick Kyrgios, Australian tennis superstar, like just... I can't explain how I've actually bumped into that and actually had to chat with them on a podcast. Like it's I can't explain it.
Yeah, it's really cool, isn't it?
Oh,
how was Nick Kyrgios, like sitting down with him? Obviously, there's this public perception of him. But
of course,
what's he like to sit down and have a chat with?
Legend, absolute legend. Like, and I almost fell victim to the preconceived notion of him, like with what you see on television is not him in person. And I feel like you get that with a lot of athletes, like the biggest athlete that comes to mind is like Kobe Bryant, like on the court, arrogant, cocky, overconfident, but that's just him on the court. That's who he is. right? Even Jerome Luai gets that. You know what I mean? He's always classed as the villain. You know, sometimes people label him as a grub. I look at it as he's competitive. But yeah, Nick is just Nick. Like, you know, he doesn't want to be. I don't feel like he sees himself as this particular person. Like, he just wants to be like a normal Joe. Like, just, you know what I mean? Like, he's such a cool cat. Very generous with his time, very hospitable, respectful. Definitely what you see on TV is not. I feel like we got a small taste of who he really is when he was commentating with the Australian Open.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I feel like that definitely changed a lot of perception around him, and to be totally honest, I feel like he's definitely winning the Australian public now. Yeah,
well, he sort of plays the bad guy character really well. So he comes on your podcast after he's been on another podcast, and you get the invite to go out for dinner, and you mess up. You mess up sauce. You mess it up.
I can't believe I messed that up. Don't worry, we're planning to go out this weekend, so to make up for it. But yeah, we're having a few drinks after the podcast. Just having a chat upstairs, and I could tell he was a bit excited. He wanted to go out. I was very excited too, but I found that I had to go to dinner with his missus. So I'm like, listen, let's not mess that up. Go dinner with your missus. Enjoy the time with her. Maybe we'll go out after. And I was like, yeah, no worries, I'll reach out. Anyway, the decision was made that we weren't going to go out after. He was pretty cooked. And then the decision was reversed that he was going to go out. And then unfortunately, I didn't see the message. I was fast asleep.
And he was with Theo Von as well. Oh, mate. Like
I didn't know about this, about Theo Von. Like, he's a comedian if no one knows him, but he's got the 4th most listened to podcast in the world. And I had
really?
I had no idea. And yeah, it would have been a wild night, which I'm not birding about, but yeah.
Sorry to bring that up, man. As well as your podcast, you've got a few other business interests. You've got your renovation company.
Yep.
Does that work a little bit? You buy, renovate, and then flick, or you come in as the company to do the renovations on behalf of other people?
So we work hand in hand predominantly with real estate agents. So we do a lot of like renovate to sell. We work hand in hand with a client who are looking to put their property on the market to achieve maximum value in return for their property, essentially. So we do a lot of pre-sale renovations. We'll also do like a deferred payment plan for the client. So I know one thing, people don't really like to dip into their pocket and spend thousands of dollars renovating a property and going ahead with a risk, which might not work in their favor. But with us, like, we label all the key areas that really will get their return with their investment. We also do rental renovations for investors as well that want to get more rental income. And we do a lot of commercial fit outs as well, warehouse conversions, which has been, again, something different for me. Like, I was a chippy by trade, so I was fortunate enough to do my carpentry license before I debuted. So I've always had that construction background, and being Lebanese, it's in our blood to constantly be building. So I've always had that passion. But yeah, like this again, I feel like with me, I always wanted to kind of have multiple streams of revenue and multiple interests.
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Like, there's always something, right? The hardest thing for me is finding balance. And I actually found this out the other day, but the most successful people in the world have no balance. And that gave me a bit of motivation and kind of reassured me that I was doing something right.
Yeah, it is difficult that when you've got not multiple fingers in different pies, but you've got the juggling act of different business interests, different work avenues, like different passions.
Something's got to give, right? Like, family, business, podcast, whatever that might. Well, I do a bit of work with NRL as well. So how do I juggle all those 5 things? Like, I'll be honest, like my leisure time has definitely taken a hit. Don't really go out much anymore. Don't really see mates anymore. So it is what it is.
And I guess, especially coming from our background of professional sport, where the day, the week, the month, the year is so structured.
Yeah.
You don't have to do any of the planning. I don't know about you, but do you find it difficult to piece it all together and to fit it all in? And obviously we're in charge of our own schedules now. Yes. And when we work for ourselves here at the Byron, we've got to fit it in around other permanent commitments, and there's some that aren't permanent, that are flexible.
Yeah.
So like myself and Brandon Smith do a weekly show, but I'm in around his schedule, which then impacts my schedule. It's like it's every week is moving parts, and that's hard enough to organise in itself. Now, anybody listening at home is like, well, God. Get the violin out. Like, oh, mate, feel so sorry for you. Let's get a GoFundMe page to get Jimmy and source some personal assistants and schedule organisers. But it is quite the juggle.
Yeah, that was a big shock for me. Like, stepping out of that and kind of entering the real world of,
that's the real world.
The real world, like reality. Like I used to complain about having no time when I played rugby league. Like, seriously.
Massages at 2. I've got to wait for an hour for a massage. No way.
Oh my God. Honestly, the audacity. But yeah, I actually love like doing my own scheduling now and planning. But I don't know. I know you spoke to Latsi, so to get some ammo out of me, but I don't know if he told you, but I'm the worst with time. I've come early today, which is good. But
that's coming up a little bit later. Hey, your renovation company. What's it called for anyone that's out there that's in I guess in the market or looking for some advice, some help?
Oh, it's called Click Built. So again, like our specialties is pre-sale, rental, and commercial. So we'll come in, we can identify all the key areas that you need to kind of renovate. The biggest thing for me, like I think it's trust and transparency that goes a long way when it comes to building or renovating. I do that pretty well, I like to think, because I know they're spending their hard-earned money and they want to see the results. So like for me, I don't want to go in and just, say, oh, you need to do all of this and just trying to make a buck. For me, it's their interests come first. Yeah. So, it's called Click Built. We're doing pretty well at the moment. And we operate pretty much all around Sydney. And yeah, it's been good.
Are you on the tools? Or you?
I get asked this question quite a bit. Listen, if I need to be, I will get on the tools. But at the moment, I'm doing more project handling and project management because really that's where my time is most valued at. So.
Yeah, nice. So I'm just in layman's terms, argument say I've got a property, go to see the real estate agent. They say, look, you'll probably value around $1 million.
Yep.
I come to you.
Yep.
You say, well, if you tip, say 100 in, it'll go for 1.3.
It doesn't even need to be that expensive.
So
it could be 20, it could be 30, it could be 40, obviously depending on the property, depending on what they want to return on that property.
So if you put, say, you're looking, put X amount in and we'll get X plus
correct.
$200-300.
Put in $1, you're expecting to get $2 back. That's the optimal goal.
Is that the goal? So
correct.
For every dollar spent on renovation, you're looking to double the returns when sale time comes.
Correct. Like there was one property we got, I think it was just 500 and some, probably mid 500,000 return of investment. So that was actually over reserve. Sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually butchered that. It was actually 500,000 over reserve we got for our client. That was just unbelievable. So like we have so many success stories, so many, and I haven't had a bad run yet. Knock on wood. So it's been good.
Nice, mate. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You've also got the academy going on.
Yeah.
Busy man.
So yeah.
So what's the academy? That's a school holiday.
Just
clinic.
To be honest, it's very niche. Like I don't want to just kind of get 1,000 kids.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Because I feel like it'll be very hard to put my time and energy to that many kids. Like I feel like that helped me with my retirement as well, because in the last year I was just helping a few kids out, training them on my spare time, and the satisfaction they were getting on their faces and the return, like the results they were getting. I could see how happy they were, and it just reminded me of like when I was a kid, and I never had that luxury to just go speak to an NRL, train with an ex-NRL player. I never had that luxury. I was just going to the park by myself and just trying to figure it out as I went on. And I feel like that's where my path's leading me to now, like kind of mentoring, coaching the next gen coming through, and the satisfaction I'll get for them to achieve their dreams now, like that'll be pretty special. So it's called League Lab. It's almost up and running. I've been quite slow on it, to be totally honest. It is working in the shadows with I've got a select few kids that I'm training, but I should be launching the website and fully, full guns blazing soon.
Yeah, nice. That's that's good to hear. It is like things are a slow burn.
Yeah.
I guess in the real world as well, they can take a bit of time to get off the ground. I've got a few projects myself that I'm working on. It's like,
what are you doing now? Like besides this?
Got this going on. Work with Triple M, a little bit with Fox. I do some leadership and teamwork presentations.
Wow.
I'm which is really cool. Work for a company called Explore Performance, which take people on interactive decision making.
Wow.
So one of the guys that was in the team, he climbed Everest, and basically you're in this team. How you set your team up. We talk about decision making processes, how we make decisions, our values, how we fall back on our values, and we throw them into this simulation. Then it's like, okay, it's like a video plays. Okay, well now you got option A, option B, or what are you going to choose? Obviously there's maybe like split into, depending on the group size, but groups of 5, so maybe like 6 groups of 5. And then there's split within the groups of 5. Someone want to go option A, option B, but then it's how we make decisions.
Wow.
And yeah, it's really cool actually. I really enjoy that, working with them. I've got a granola happening as well, which should be hopefully coming out. Oh, I've been saying this for months. It should be coming out soon, but it's just difficult to get it off the ground. Called the pre-match meal. So
I love that.
That's coming out hopefully very soon.
You just reminded me, this will make you laugh. I'm actually experimenting, coming out with my own sauce.
Mate, why not?
I had the nickname Sauce my whole career. I thought I'd just kind of leverage off that. And you know what? It's a bit of fun. And we'll see how it goes.
And that's it, mate. Sometimes it is a bit of fun, and it's okay to fail.
Yeah.
Like I started this granola thing because it's called the pre-match meal. Was my pre-game meal at the back end of my career.
Wow.
Home-baked granola.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I used to make before I played. And then random encounter with a person who's a food manufacturer. He said, well, why don't we ever go and making it? And there's marketing and all that and design, and we've got the bags done, we've got the product, we've got it ready. So we're not that far off ready to launch. I've been speaking with someone at Amazon to get it on, I think Amazon Marketplace or Amazon. That seems to be the best way, the way things are going. So I'm excited about that actually. It's just so slow in the real world. Football's fast paced. You got an issue on a weekend, we address it on a Monday, you go out and practice it on the Tuesday, the Thursday, and then you implement it on the Friday. Boom. Simple as that. But with real world, people have small steps. I'm on annual leave. What do you mean you're on annual leave? Like, or this is good.
We never had any of that.
No. You're always contactable, and when you're your own business as well, there's no such thing as annual leave. But anyway, this is all business.
It's all new to us. We're adjusting.
Yeah, we're adjusting. Mate, let's go back. You spoke there. You come through at Souths in the 20s.
Yes.
You're playing there for a couple of seasons, and Gus takes a shine to you.
Yeah, so I was playing Reggie's in 2011. Had a pretty good stint playing in under 20s. Had guys like Adam Reynolds as my halfback, Nathan Peets at hooker, Josh Starling, Dylan Farrell was in the centres, James Roberts. We had a pretty stacked team. I just fell short in the grand final 2010, but the 2011, I got myself a training trial contract, and that expired obviously after the pre-season, and I was just pretty much playing at North Sydney Bears. I was coming to train with the NRL squad when I could. I wasn't getting paid for it. I was just going down there to get a bit of experience and a bit of confidence training amongst those boys. And then playing at Souths, all I wanted to do was play at Souths. I just wanted to be a Souths player. I feel I've always been that kind of guy, always been loyal, and they showed me the faith from day dot. But you know what? It didn't work out in the end. I actually found out that Shane Richardson and John Lang believed that I'll never play a day of first grade from a pretty reliable source. But so after I heard that, I kind of wanted to look elsewhere, and they didn't believe in me. So I had to find someone that did, and end up being Gus. So yeah, Gus seen me a couple of times playing at Norths, and we met just like how we're meeting now. Just had a conversation, showed me around Penrith at the time, and I signed just after that one meeting. Just signed straight away.
It's funny that how when people believe in you, The change in just how you feel about yourself.
Yeah.
So upbeat when you've got someone that just...
And I feel like, Penrith kind of resembled myself. Like, you know, they're going for a massive change. New coach, Gus was running the show now. They wanted to start up again. They were rebuilding. And I was essentially rebuilding my career. And I remember rocking up there, day one of preseason. Mate, there was like 50-something guys training preseason. And I was like looking. And naturally, I was like, okay, how many outside backs were there? I reckon I was like 7th choice in the outside backs. It was ridiculous. And to be totally honest, I didn't look at it like how am I going to get my opportunity? When's going to be my opportunity? I took the approach where I was just going to, the old cliche, week by week, just train hard. That's all I control, what I can control. And if it happens, it's meant to be. It's meant to be. And it happened against the Melbourne Storm. I think it was round 9.
In 2012, that's where you make your debut. And that's under Ivan Cleary in his first
year
stint at the Penrith Panthers. How was he as a coach back then? Obviously, since 2012, he left and went to the Tigers, came back to Penrith, and he's built this dynasty. What was he like in the early years?
Still calm, collected. I've only seen Ivan lose it once only, but throughout my whole career. And he's just always been a student of the game. He's really he's always been a strategist. I think he really instills belief in his players, which I really admired about him. And that's what you want from a coach. Like, you don't want to go out and take a field where, you're kind of second guessing if you're going to be playing next week, the week after. He's very loyal to his players. And he's very honest. Like, if he has something, he'll come up to you and he will tell you how it is, And that's what I think I respected about him most. He was able to have those hard conversations with you. And, he really instilled a lot of belief in me, which I really appreciated.
When you make your debut, what's it like for you personally? When did you find out, and when are you, like...
Jimmy, it was like one of the best feelings in our lives. Like, honestly was.
Like all that hard work, all that sacrifice.
Yeah, everything you put into it finally paying off. Like, it was the best feeling in the world, Jimmy. Like, the words don't do it justice. Like, I was just going to training normally. Like, it was just a normal day. And I happened to pop my tyre on the highway and had to... This is a true story. But the boys like to think that I was bugging it on because I was being late, but no, this actually happened. And I had to make the nervous phone call and call Ivan, and I was absolutely shitting it. And
because you popped your tyre.
I was late to training, and he goes, "Well, when do you reckon you'll get here?" I'm like, I'll probably get to training 20, 30 minutes late. And he's like, "Okay, I'll see you when you get here." Anyway, he called me back straight after, like 5 minutes after. And I'm like, fuck. I saw his name pop up on my phone and I was sweating bullets. And he's like, mate, how far are you? I'm like, oh, we spoke 5 minutes ago, probably 25 minutes now. And then he's like, oh, mate, I'll just tell you now. You're making your debut this week. I'll just see you when you get to training. I'll just give you the heads up now. And I just hung up and I was just like, it's like time just paused. I'm just driving to training. I'm like, I fucking could not fucking believe it. I rang my wife, rang my partner at the time, my girlfriend. I rang my mum. Everyone was just in tears. Like, it was just the best feeling. I rocked up at training. No one was on the field. No one was in the gym. I'm like, where are they? And I saw one of the physios. Oh, they're still in the video room. So they all waited for me to rock up. And then as soon as I opened the door, like, all the boys were just cheering, yelling, patting me, jumping up, hugging me, and best feeling in the world.
Yeah.
Best feeling in the world.
So you continue on the trajectory there at Penrith. Some interesting people come into your life.
A lot of interesting people, depending on who you ask, who you're talking about.
One of those being Jeremy Latimore. So just Jeremy Grudgemore.
I like that.
So where were you living at the time?
So inner west. So I was still like commuting pretty much an hour there, hour back.
Yeah. And Jeremy, what year does he come to the club?
2014.
Yeah.
I think, or 2013, 2014, around then.
Yeah. So he used to pick you up.
We used to carpool together. We used to carpool. We used to meet on a particular street where we cross paths, and then we'll jump out, park up, and we'll drive in together. And he was all right. He was all right. A bit of a wigger in the carpool.
I know what that's like. You ride the Jeremy Latimore roller coaster. He's given me quite the list of things.
Did you pull out a scroll?
Yeah,
I'm looking at that. That's a bit of ammo.
You've already brought up. One of those things is flat tires coming to training whenever we didn't drive together. So it would be convenient how you'd get a pop tire whenever it was just you on your own, but when you were together, you never had a flat tire.
In my defense, like I'm driving on the highway. They were doing a lot of roadworks, missing, like there was a few screws, nails, God knows what was on the highway at the time. I can't.
Just an
unfortunate circumstance. I can't, listen, there was times where I just woke up late, but like...
did you actually, when you were making your debut,
I'm just trying to confess that.
Yeah, did you actually pop your tire?
No, that was legit.
That was legit. So you actually had to change it?
You know how scary that is, change your tire on the highway, mind you? Like my head's here and like cars are driving past me here. Like it was pretty scary.
Yeah.
Needed to be done.
So it was just the once, or it's happened?
No, it's happened a couple of times.
Just always when you're by yourself.
Always by myself.
He's also, not to hold a grudge after all these years, but he was firing up on the phone saying, mate, when we used to meet, he lived 5 minutes away from the meeting spot. Round the corner. He lived half an hour away. And you'd be like, mate, traffic's so bad.
Can I say, I don't know why this happens to me. Maybe it's ADHD that hasn't been diagnosed, but I'm sure I have it. I'll have everything planned and then something will absolutely ruin my plans and I'll end up getting late.
Yeah.
I don't know if that happens to you, but yeah, it definitely happens to me. Something just happens. I can't foresee it, can't explain it, and yeah, but that's true. I did live 5 minutes away from our pickup spot.
Yeah.
Too far.
He also said, you carry on like you're the first bloke to have 3 kids.
Oh, that's such a lie.
Just telling everyone how hard it is.
That's GST. That is GST. He far out. He carries on deluxe about everything. Like I was lucky enough to go and go on my bucks with him to Vegas. That was
on your books to Vegas. How I've just come back from Las Vegas. How was Jeremy in Las Vegas? How did you go in Las Vegas, and how was Jeremy?
Like Jeremy likes to make it known that he can, out party anyone and everyone. But I can officially say I broke him on that trip.
You broke him.
I broke him. I caught him sleeping pretty much the first night. But there was one time, I should say, on Wednesday. So we just got back from the nightclub, and the nightclubs, as you would know, they close pretty early hours in the morning. So we've gone back to the hotel. The sun's beaming into the hotel. Everyone's sleeping, but it was me. I don't even know how the club promoter came with us, but the club promoter was there, and it was Jeremy. We're just sitting down, having pizza, and the topic of the presidential election come up.
Oh no!
And I'm like, this is a conversation that I'm not willing to have.
What year was this?
This is when Donald Trump and I think Hillary Clinton were going at it as candidates. And this has gone down the proper rabbit hole. And Jeremy was full invested into this conversation. And I made sure I exited it as fast as I could. He actually almost put me to sleep.
Mate, the worst thing, he'd have no idea. He'd have like if you sat down with him and what do you think? What do you think about the presidential election? He'd just be like, don't know, like Trump or Clinton, whatever. But I can imagine him big night out, thinking he knows everything, trying to impress the other people in the room with his knowledge of American overseas political strategies.
There was a time as well, I think it was my last night there, and Vegas got the best of me. I passed out. I was out cold, and I went to wake up and no one was in the hotel room. I was getting a bit nervous, and I went to the far bedroom, and I saw Latsy there, and he woke up, and I don't know if you know those goldfishes that have their eyes protruding out of their heads. His eyeball was sticking out that far, and I'm like, I don't want to alarm you, but your eye's infected bad. And I told him not to dive into the pool club, not to dive into that water, because God knows what's festering in those things. And he's dived from one end to the other, ran the gauntlet, and came back to Sydney with a massive infected eye.
Well, I think that's what I've got. Maybe he's left. Maybe that's what it
is. That's right.
This is what it could be. Jeremy's left his eye infection.
It's just been festering in Vegas to this day.
To this day, he also said he enjoyed calling you the emu because you were always picking up seeds. That's just Jeremy trying an attempt to be funny.
That's pretty dry, though. That's pretty dry. Yeah, I was picking up seeds around him because I used to call him gravity because he used to weigh me down.
Yeah. He does bring everyone down. And it is Jeremy's world. We just happen to live in it. He wanted you to explain.
Where's this going? I'm nervous now. I'm getting nervous.
He said you've in a game you've kicked it dead, and he's sprayed you, and then you ran to the middle of the field and started saying,
I don't know how you would have reacted to this either.
Make your tackles, you fat fuck.
And it's all on camera, which makes it even funnier.
Is it?
Yeah, mate. It was
Go on, run us through.
It was last tackle. We're in Newcastle. We're playing at home, and we're in Newcastle's 20. And the ball got to me on last, and the winger come up, and I've gone to kick it in behind, and I've booted it onto the M5 highway, and and I'm filthy. I'm jogging back, I'm absolutely off it. And then I've heard Latsy say something, and you just see me a quick reaction. You fucking just make your tackle, you fat fuck. You see it all on camera.
That's brilliant.
It was all time.
How did he take it?
He had no choice. He was just stuck in the washing machine making the tackles. 7 tackles set, unlucky. And I'm just cruising on the sideline. But it was far out. We've had some funny times, me and Latsy, honestly. So many funny times on the field. I remember one particular moment. He stuffed up. We're playing the Broncos at home, and just before halftime, we conceded a try. And unfortunately, it was inside Latsy. And we've come into halftime, and Latsy didn't think it was his fault. And he's gone straight to Bryce Carra. He's like, mate, I need you to tie in there, you can't just let him through like that.
Flailing everywhere,
And then Anthony Griffin heard it. He's just turned over to him. He's like, mate, it was your fucking fault. You were jumping at shadows. Mate, take accountability. And Latsy's like, his jaw just hit the floor. I walked to the next room with Peter Watts losing it in absolute tears. It was a highlight of my career with playing with Latsy. Highlight. He had nothing.
Just getting his legs blown off. Oh, that's brilliant.
It was all time. If you only saw his reaction, oh my God. But yeah, love him. Love him.
That is brilliant.
He's honestly got us. We've had so much good fun.
Yeah, he lays claim to giving Sean Johnson a bit of advice when coming through the ranks. Of
course he does.
But he's also laid claim to a bit of advice he gave you. He says in 2014, midway through conditioning, you were blowing up because your legs were done. You walked off the field.
I was 15.
I was 15.
I'll fact check that.
And then him and Seguiaro have come over and got you back onto the training paddock. So, mate, if there's those two coming up and giving you advice,
that was the first time I ever I was sick. I was legitimately sick, and I just couldn't get air in my lungs. I was just absolutely crook, and we were playing con games, and I decided, I threw in the towel. I can't do this. And I absolutely got sprayed by the boys. And I'm like, boys, I'm legit sick here. I can't fucking breathe. And they sprayed me you soft fuck, blah, blah, blah. So I jumped back in. I ended up jumping back in. You did jump.
Well, he seems to think that inspired your Australian representative jersey. That was the cap. Him putting his arm around you. Him and James Seguiaro.
He was with me when I got the call up that I got picked for the Kangaroos on Mad Monday, surprisingly enough.
Was that the 2014?
Did he tell you something about that?
Yes, he did.
Oh!
It was a big session.
That was a big session. Yeah, that was a big session. I was still new to the scene, and I was one of the young bucks, and I kind of wanted to I told the boys, I'm like, you know what, like I'm not going to drink a drop of water. And I'm going to show you all. I'll drink all of yours. Anyway, it came to bite me on the ass, James. Bad. I absolutely passed out from dehydration. It was bad. Ended up in hospital from dehydration.
Did you?
Yeah, legit dehydration. I was gone.
You had to go to hospital
for dehydration, but can you believe it? Yeah. It was a hot day. We're drinking all day. Didn't have a drop of water, and I was drinking a lot of vodka Red Bulls.
Oh, right.
Like that was the only thing I was drinking. Vodka Red Bull, and I
put you in a spin.
But saying that, Latsy wasn't there for that moment because he went home because he had to get his beauty sleep. So that was another moment where I drank horsey. But we're actually all having a few drinks, and Gus called me, and I'm like, God, what could this be about? Like, I'll show the boys. I was like, don't answer it. And I answer it like, no. Hey, Gus. And it's like, oh, hey, mate, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just having a few drinks here with Latsy, Elijah Taylor, Sam McKendry. And they're like, what have you done? And he's like, oh, where are you? I'm like, oh, no, we're just here chilling out with one of the boys. I'm at the hotel room. And he's like, oh, okay. He goes, mate, I got some news about you. I'm like, news? And he's like, yeah, from the NRL. And I was like, where's this going? Because I actually got drug tested like, I think it was a day before, after the game, after we lost against you guys. I'm like thinking to myself, that's the only thing I could think of. I'm like, did I get tested for something? I'm like, okay, yeah. And he's like, yeah, mate, you're making your Australian debut. You got picked for the Australian Prime Minister squad. And I was just like, oh, thank God. I'm like, not that I took anything or I should be worried about, but I was just like,
where could this be going?
I was just overthinking it. I'm thinking of a scenario, and I'm like, did I have a protein that I should have had? And I was like, all the boys just like, wow, like how good was that? So that was actually a pretty special moment to share that with those boys. Yeah,
how cool. Good. You brought up a bloke, Sam McKendry. He said he was pretty interested in and around the traps at Penrith.
What did he say?
He just said Sam McKendry was...
I can't say these stories on air. But no, Sammy McKendry is like one of the guys that, oh man, you have the time of your life. Like he's so funny, but he doesn't mean to be funny.
Yeah, I know the type of bloke you're on about, yeah.
And you beat stitches the whole time. Like we had a lot of funny moments together. One moment, I should say, it was actually that Mad Monday 2014. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, but we went back to his house and told him, I go, like, no one's at your house, yeah? He's like, nah, no one's there. So me, Matt Robinson, and himself, obviously, we rock up. We open the door. He's having a full family gathering. We've got his step-parents, his cousins, his uncles and aunties, his mum, his missus, and we're like been charging all day. Reek of alcohol. And I'm like, hi everyone. And like, we're just sitting there, like mixing and mingle with his whole family and extended family while he's in the room getting changed. Then he's getting into a fight with his missus because he's told her we have to go out. And it was an absolute debacle. Like, it was... More happened, but I don't want to reveal.
I've never met Sam McKendry, but I want to.
Oh, far out! He's the funniest man.
But he doesn't seem like that type of guy. Like playing against him, he just seems like this tough, uncompromising, like hard as nails guy. But then, like Latsy spoke like so highly of him.
Oh man, he was one of the like army camps. Like he was the guy. If you're feeling down, you're low in energy, you go hang out with Sam. You're back.
You're back.
You're back. You're like it's just like hooking an IV drip in you. He's honestly the best value ever. I remember we're in one army camp and we had to make a bonfire, and he didn't get a tree, a branch. He brought the whole bloody tree with him. Yeah. He's told Robert Jennings to stay on one end, and we're going to snap it in half. He's gone to jump on one end. Robert Jennings has gone flying, landed on his back. It was just little things like that. He's just the best value ever, man. Like, can I say, like, he's one of the best front rowers I've played with. Like, one of the toughest. A guy that was almost impossible to. I don't think I've ever seen him on his back, put on his back. Just one of the toughest Kiwis that play the game.
Yeah,
for sure.
he certainly was. I agree with you on that. But with your time at Penrith, did you, or could you see what was coming?
Yeah, definitely.
With the build and the junior nursery that they've got out there, is this any surprise to you whatsoever?
So no. It was always a dream of mine to be a successful club at Penrith, and I think my loyalty showed that. Like I kept on re-signing. I wanted to be a one club man. I love the club to bits. I love the community. I love the fan. I love everything about the place. And I think it's, we did go through a few management changes. Obviously Ivan left, then Anthony Griffin come in. Then we'll Ciro was interim coach at the time, and then Ivan come back.
What was it like when Ivan came back?
Oh, I was over the moon. I actually didn't understand why he left in the first place. I feel like it was a bit hard done by, particularly after that 2015 season. We had the worst injury toll amongst all the teams in the NRL. And I remember I was in Fiji, just proposed to my wife, and I get a text saying Ivan won't be with us anymore, and he's been relieved of his duties. And I was taken back. I couldn't believe it. And first thing I did was I called him, spoke to him, and thanked him for everything, and I'm sorry that I apologized to him because I thought I had something to do with that. I felt part to blame. I felt like I didn't perform for him, and I wished him all the best. And we still kept in touch. I actually tried getting him to be the coach for Lebanon in the World Cup, and but he ended up picking up the West Tigers role and ended up coaching there for a while. And when he came back to Penrith, I was so happy for him to be back. Was it strange with the internal politics going on there? Like, or you as a player, like, where's your head at with it? You try and focus, or? Well, for me as a player, it's hard to focus, but at the end of the day, like, you go back. Ivan instilled this in me. Like, you only can control what you can control, and the one thing I couldn't control was what was happening above board. Like, I didn't understand it. I couldn't make sense of it. And it wasn't my decision, and it wasn't me to make sense of what was happening. Yeah. So for me, all my job was to perform and to win games with my teammates. And that's all I kind of, as a player, wanted to worry about. And that's all I could do. Like, honestly, was it frustrating? Yeah, it probably was a bit frustrating because it was an added distraction for us as a playing group. And with playing, like, all you want to do is go out there and play. You only just want to focus on footy, nothing else. But was it a distraction? Yeah, it was a bit of a distraction.
Ivan's building something strong there. 2020, you guys make the grand final. Unfortunately, you come up with the loss against Melbourne. What are your memories from that day? Obviously, I know you scored a try.
I still think about that game and I can't make sense of it. It was a bit of a bizarre game to be played. Like, it was a weird day. It was pissing down rain all day. I woke up confident. I felt like we had a very good chance. I knew it wasn't going to be easy. Obviously with Cameron Smith, Jesse Bromwich, mate, they had a stacked team. But I did back our chances. We were the best defensive side that year, and we leaked points in that game where they were very uncharacteristic of us. Like, they threw an intercept. That was probably one of my regrets in that game. When he threw that intercept, I let him down there. Like, I missed that tackle on Vunivalu. I just slipped right down his legs when I tried chasing him back. I scored a try in the first half, which was disallowed for obstruction, which I thought we were hard done by as well. I didn't think Brenko Lee was going to get anywhere close to me. But again, rules of the game. If we're going to do a black and white, he can't. The lead runner can't go on his outside. So there was a penalty try awarded to Justin Olam. Cameron Smith scores a try under the sticks. It was like the ball just ricocheted off three blokes and just somehow he just puts it down. Like, and then Pappenhausen just runs the length of the field off the scrum. Like, it was just so bizarre.
Yeah.
And I remember coming into half time and it was so quiet. It was never that quiet. Every time we've come into half time, we'll go into our little groups and our units and left edge with left edge, right edge with right edge, middles with middles. And like, it was just so quiet. Everyone was in shock. And I remember I had a moment where I snapped it. I'm like, boys, we still got another half to go. Like, this game is fucking far from over. Like, we're still in this. Like, come on, snap out of it. We started talking, and we got out there and we can see the first try with that Pappenhausen try. And it was just, when that was hard. Like, when we went behind the sticks there in the in goal, it was like, just not our day. It's just not our day. We didn't give up, but we didn't throw in the towel. We fought back. I did score a try close to the end there, and we were one try short of, I think, leveling the game. And I think they had 2 sent off at that time. So I think if the game was 2-3 minutes more, I like our chances. But unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be.
No, sometimes the stars don't align.
No.
It just doesn't work out. After that game, 48 hours later, was it you or your management receive a phone call?
Me.
Who's the phone call from?
Ivan. Yeah, he just wanted to catch up for a coffee and just have a chat. And I'm like, yeah, no worries. But again, like I found it a bit bizarre. Like, we just had Mad Monday. We just lost the grand final. We just had Mad Monday, and he wanted to have a chat so early on, right after it. And,
what days is this? Tuesday, Wednesday?
Roughly that, yeah. And I go, I remember I called Uppy, I called a few boys. I'm like, what could it be about? And all the boys couldn't understand it either. They go, well, maybe it's just like an end of season review we want to have with you. So that kind of eased me a bit. And then I went to the cafe and went to go meet him. And I saw Matty Cameron, who was the general manager there. And when I saw him there with Ivan, I was like, fuck, this can't be good. I just had a bad feeling about it.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then, we sat down, had a chat. And basically the chat was around, like we're thinking of the future. Charlie Staines was coming through, and they wanted to kind of invest in that, and he was going to be the starting winger for 2021 on the left wing. And it was thrown to me that I should look elsewhere. Like, I'm in a good position now. I had a great year. You'd definitely get value on the market if I was to go pursue another club. And the general manager, Matt Cameron, said that if I was to stay, I'll be basically playing reserve grade. I won't play any NRL for the whole year. So that I was pushed into a corner. So do I want to leave? Definitely not. But can I see where the club? I know, in a business world, I totally understand what they wanted to do, but doesn't mean it didn't hurt. It still killed me. But yeah, it is what it is. It happened, and I just had to kind of move on from it.
How was your relationship with Ivan around that time? Where did you direct your frustration?
My frustration was I felt like we were good enough mates that we could have just had a chat one-on-one, and I don't know, I feel like I was a bit ambushed in a way. I was still pretty sensitive from the fact that we just lost the grand final, because all I wanted to do was win a premiership for Penrith. The only thing I wanted to do. And it was a dream of mine. That was my 9th season. That was a dream of mine for 9 years. And I felt like we were so close. And I still believed in that dream more than ever, even though we lost that year. And, I was still kind of recovering after that. And then it was just kind of 2 blows in a very short time. And I was so emotionally invested in that club. I was so deeply tied with it. Again, I use the word love. I truly love that club. I loved my teammates, man. I loved, they were more than teammates. We were honestly brothers, man. Honestly, people see how they carry on the field when they score a try, and they're so happy, and to label them as arrogant and cocky, they're just out there having fun with each other.
They love each other.
They love each other, man.
Yeah. They celebrate each other.
They celebrate it. And every right to.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was hard. I regret my reaction to it. I wasn't in the right state of mind. I should have put my emotion aside and thought rationally. It was just so hard to think rationally at the time, because I had such a great relationship with Ivan, man. And to this, I bottled that, and water off a duck's back. I've definitely brushed that aside, and for me, that didn't happen. I still respect and love Ivan, and I'm happy for what he's been able to achieve for the club. Because would it be nice to be involved with with that success? Of course it would be, but Jimmy, it just wasn't my time.
Yeah.
It wasn't my destiny, and it was a dream of mine for the club to be successful, and to see those boys living out that dream, I feel like I've kind of accomplished that myself.
Yeah, mate, you speak there about this Penrith brotherhood, this love for one another. What is it? What's behind that?
I feel like a bit of it stems from the boys coming through the junior systems. You obviously see Jerome, Nathan playing since the age of 16. A lot of the youngsters coming through, so they've been together for a number of years. When I was there in 2020, we still had a bit of a senior leadership group there, like the older heads, like myself, Jimmy Tarmow, Zane Tanavano, Api Coruscant, Isaiah Yo, even though he was pretty young at the time. And they were essentially moulding the younger guys coming through and to instill and to believe in the culture that we're trying to create. And I guess we're kind of like the cultural architects in that 2020 season. And then obviously myself, Jimmy, Zane, we left. And the guys coming through like Fisher Harris, Moses Leota, Liam Martin, Isaiah Yo, Dylan Edwards. Like these guys took on that leadership role, and they've just flourished, absolutely flourished. And I feel like culture eats strategy for breakfast. If you got a team out there that will do anything for each other, will do whatever it takes, compared to a team that's well-oiled in terms of strategy, I feel like the team that's really got a good culture in place will always win. That
wants it more for each other, because you look at what motivates people and doing things for your people who you love. You go way above and beyond for those people than what you would just do for your teammate.
Exactly. And they got the best of both worlds. They've got the best halfback in the game. They've got the best coach in the game, arguably the best lock in the game. So they've got players that aren't just talented, but they'll also do whatever it takes to win a football game and to be successful. And like I started getting question marks after that 2021 season with Penrith, like how long can they sustain that level of intensity? I thought, and motivation.
Yeah.
After winning that first premiership, can they do it again? They did it. That second premiership, they won it quite comfortably. Last year, I feel like between them and the Broncos, I've never seen so much of a gap in terms of quality amongst the rest of the competition. And again, but the question mark was still there. Can they do it for a third time? Can they maintain that level of intensity, that effort, the sacrifice? But I know one thing for sure, winning's addictive. Success is so addictive. And the basis, like that club just want to be successful at all things. If it's in the gym, if it's in video, if it's in recovery, whatever they apply themselves to, they need to be the best at it. And that's why they've been so successful in all these years. They don't leave anything up for chance.
We're going to take a quick break from the show to talk about AG1. Taking care of your health isn't always easy, but it should at least be simple. That's why for the past 3 years, I've been drinking AG1 every day, no exceptions. It's just one scoop mixed in water once a day, every day, and it makes me feel focused and ready to take on every day. That's because each serving of AG1 delivers my daily dose of vitamins, minerals, pre- and probiotics, and more. It's a powerful, healthy habit that's also powerfully simple. Healthy aging doesn't need to be complicated. It certainly shouldn't feel complicated. That's why sometimes when you're taking all sorts of mixes of pills, potions, powders, supplements, whatever, it can become exhausting. But just one scoop of AG1 every single day covers all my nutritional bases. It helps support my mental and physical health, which are so important to me, and I don't need the hassle that can be part of the mental health issues. So in just 60 seconds every morning, I know I'm giving my body exactly what it needs and setting up my sustainable habits for the long run. If there's one product I had to recommend to elevate your health, it's AG1. That's why they've been a partner of the Buy Round for so long. So if you want to take ownership of your health, start with AG1. Try AG1 and get a free 1-year supply of vitamin D3 and K2 and 5 free AG1 travel packs with your first purchase exclusively at drinkag1.com/buyround. That's drinkag1.com/buyround. ag1.com/buy round. Check it out. You leave and you end up going to South Sydney. What do you make of that club when you first rock in? Obviously, you'd been there as a 20-year-old, 20-year-old. What's it like when you come back?
Oh, it was great. Like, I felt like I did the full circle. It was an exciting time. It was Wayne's last year. We've done some pretty cool recruits. We've got Benji Marshall in as well. We've got Latrell Mitchell, Cody Walker, Adam Reynolds, Damien Cook, Junior Totola. A great mixture of experience and youth, a big club. The biggest shock for me was when it was the expectation. So like, you're expected, if you're a South Sydney player, you're expected to win week in, week out, no matter what. If you were to lose a game, you'd feel the full force of like the fans from it. Like, you definitely know about it. So that was a bit of a change for me. It is probably the biggest club in the NRL in terms of its status, and it's the proudest club in the NRL with all their premierships. So it was a massive change for me.
Yeah. Do you feel like you settled in pretty quickly?
Nah, probably not. Nah, I don't think I fully recovered from my exit with Penrith. And then it was a bit of a weird year. Like, we pretty much left Sydney to live on the Gold Coast. It was just so much change. Much change.
Yeah, forget that. Your first year at the new club is...
It was just all over. It was just so much change. Things were different. I just had to kind of learn to adjust and pick it up as I went. And I went to Souths, I think it was in January is when I first started. Was it mid-Jan maybe? So I didn't even get the opportunity to do a full preseason as well. But it was a bit of an up and down year as well. Like, I was on the right. I thought I was getting a good combination going with Campbell Graham. Then I tweaked my hammy. Never tweaked a muscle in my life. So I was a change as well. Come back, done it again. So the first half of the season I was a bit slow to get out of the blocks, and then I went back to my original. AJ got injured, and I came back in for him on the left side, and I regained my form again. And then I played against Penrith up at Suncorp, and probably had one of my worst games. I just wasn't communicating well with Latrell at the back. There was a bit of a game plan. They were obviously going to pepper me with kicks. I felt that. I think it was the 5th kick or the 6th bomb that they've put up. I dropped it cold, and then it was a bit of a snowball effect. One ball dropped in no man's land. The second one as well. The third one as well, and then I ended up getting absolutely creamed. I did my MCL, split my eye, and I come away from that game pretty busted. But yeah, wasn't, I guess, the best year. That
was the end of your season at that point.
Yep.
South's going to make the grand final against Penrith. So you've got your new club against your old club, and you're sat in the stands. What's that like for you, sitting back watching?
That was the weirdest feeling in the world. Honestly, it was the weirdest feeling because, like I said before, all I wanted to do was win a premiership with Penrith. And I remember when we beat them in the quarterfinals, it was actually a sense of relief. And because the worst thing I could possibly imagine was having to play them in a grand final. And then they played, I think, Melbourne. I'm like, surely they won't get past Melbourne. They got past Melbourne. And then I saw them play Para, and I'm like, I thought they'd beat Para, but Parramatta played one of their best games all season. We're just short in the end. And then we're playing them in the grand final. And I was like, this is so weird. Like, I can't believe this. And, it is what it is. Obviously, I'm at Souths now. I wanted to win a premiership with Souths. And that game, it was back and forth. It was war of attrition. It was ultimate grind. It was back and forth. And then the game obviously broke when Cody threw the intercept and Crichton scores under the sticks. And I felt like Souths had the opportunities to. We had opportunities to win that game, but credit to Panthers, they defended really well. That's what they were known for. And I remember after the game, I was checking the boys. Oh, so hard, man. Fuck, it was so hard. It's just going up to the boys and like I was so happy for him, but I was so gutted at the same time. Like it was just a mix of emotions, and like I got one side where I'm like hugging the boys, like trying to cheer them up. Like I know the feeling of losing a grand final was just there, it was still fresh in my mind. And then on the other side, like I was just with those guys playing in the grand final, and like played with those boys for so many years. I was so happy for him. But
you're almost a part of it.
Yeah.
You were. No, you were.
Like,
you were a part of it.
Fish come up to me and he goes, "Bro, you should have been here with us." And like, bro, that broke me. Like, I got so emotional. Like, I just get emotional now thinking about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just so hard. So hard to take, man. It was so hard. It was just a mix of emotions.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't imagine what that was like.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
It was. You went to your next year at Souths and Jason Demetriou comes in and then picking up a fair few more injuries. What was that last year like, and what was the exit from South Sydney?
Yeah, that was probably the toughest year of my career, if I'm going to be honest. Man, so yeah, I've come in, like had a pretty solid preseason. I had a small op in the off season. I was ready to go for round one, and I'll be totally honest, like I probably didn't see eye to eye with the coach, with JD, which was a shame on a few things. I don't know, we just didn't have a good rapport. I feel like every time he spoke to me, he didn't kind of live up to what he was saying, and I let it get to me. Like I just kind of once, twice, but there was just multiple conversations which didn't go the way that he was saying was going to go. And I was like, I'm a man of my word. Like I was holding him to every single conversation that we had. And I was frustrated, man. I was so frustrated that final year. And, you know, like, for example, like, well, it's round one. Oh, pre-season, I should say. And like he told me, like I was going to be on that right edge with Stretch, and you know he wants me to build my combination with him, and he fully believed in me. I was like, wow, that's awesome. Like back to when a coach believes in me, I'll do whatever I can to repay that. Round one comes, he names a side on Tuesday. We're playing on I think the Thursday night with the first game, and I was in the team, and or maybe it was Friday I should say we're playing, and then on Thursday captain's run I'm coming in and I get a text from him to come into his office, and I thought it was a bit bizarre. I've gone in. And he told me that he was going to rest me for that week. And I was like, rest me for that week? Like, it's round one. Like, why would you name me if you thought like I needed a rest? And then he's like, I want you to get a couple of weeks under your belt. I'm like, okay, no worries, all good. Was I present that captain's run? I ended up becoming 18th man. Was I present that captain run? I was definitely not present. I didn't want to be there. I was so off it. And then Taffy rolls his ankle in that training session. So we fly up to Brisbane. He was given to pretty much almost game time to play, but Taffy got ruled out. So I'm back into the team. Even on game day, like I didn't think it was going to happen, but I actually ended up playing. It was a weird game. I ended up scoring the only try that game for us. I think it was like 8-6 or something. It was a weird game. No conversations. I ended up getting dropped to reserve grade. And then I get back into the team. We win 3 out of our 4. We smash Manly, and next week, I'm assuming we're going to be in the team. I don't feel like I played pretty good. We smacked them, and he names a team to play, and I was in the team. And then he texted me again on captain's run, and I'll go, I think I know. I had a feeling it was going to be the same conversation I had round one. So what I did first, I walked to my locker to see if my captain's run jersey was hanging, and it wasn't there. So I already had my answer. So I was going into that meeting already knowing what was going to happen. So I've walked in, and I go, hey mate, what's going on? And he goes, oh, I'm straight off the bat, I'm going to arrest you this week. I'm like, oh, what for? So I pressed it, but I normally didn't say that the first time. And I pressed him on it. I go, oh, what for? And he goes, oh, I thought you missed too many tackles last week. And I go, can you show me? And I made him bring it up. It was like 2 missed tackles. And there was one, it was a 4-on-2 on the short side, 10 metres off our line. And I had to sit on the lead Garrick was at the back. I checked, released, and Garrick tipped onto the winger, and I tried diving on a last-ditch tackle to get Tulapalatu. Apologies for my pronunciation. And I'm like, what do you want me to do there?
Yeah.
Like, I did my best. He goes, yeah, that was a bit harsh. And the other one was I jammed Garrick at the back, and I kind of just bumped off him, re-gripped, took him to the ground. And I go, am I getting dropped for that? And he just couldn't answer me. And then he tried like rewinding for weeks before. He was trying to show my missed tackles. And I go, whoa. I go, am I getting dropped for my performance last week? Am I getting dropped for something that was weeks ago? And he didn't answer me. And from that day on, I checked out, fully checked out.
Yeah.
I slammed my chair in. I go, it's fucking bullshit. And I walked out. Didn't probably speak to him probably for like a month and a half. Yeah, probably 6-8 weeks. And we're taking a game to Sunshine Coast. Mind my own business in the gym, doing what I do, just prepping for training. And out of nowhere, he just come up to me in the gym and spoke to me, and he goes, I just want to let you know, like, you're pretty close. I'm pretty happy with the way you've been training in reserve grade, and you'll be playing, like, you're going to be playing soon. I'm like, okay, sweet. We go to name the team, and Isaac Thompson gets debuted after the conversation he just had that he was going to put me back in the team. Like, I was so happy for Isaac, but at the same time, I was so filthy. I was just like, what's going on here? And mate, from there, like, I let all those situations get the best of me, because you know what? I always used to live by control what you can control.
Yeah.
I couldn't control that, and I let my emotions get the best of me yet again. And I just was just going through the motions. I just didn't care, didn't give a fuck. Just went through this. Like, I just didn't want to be there.
You can understand that, mate.
I was just frustrated, because if I wasn't going to play there, why keep me there? I could have just looked elsewhere, and I would have got a release or something. Just tried something. Try and find regular first grade time. But unfortunately, I was stuck there. And like, I remember another time, we get to the end of the year, and we're in the video room, and they say, oh, we're going to put on a little farewell video for the guys that are leaving, and I want to thank them for their time. And then I was the first one there. I didn't even know that I was leaving. I was the first one on the clip, like my highlights, and I was just like, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised with all the stuff that happened before, but yeah, it was a very sad time to leave South, unfortunately. Yeah,
it's one of those, like we spoke earlier about the ceremony around it. It needs to be better handled. So why go to the Newtown Jets? You just got that love of the game. You spoke earlier about the opportunity to go overseas just wasn't a reality.
Yeah,
you just loved the game that much. You just wanted to keep playing.
Well, I kind of hated, like, I was off rugby league at that time, and then when I went to the World Cup with Lebanon, I found my love again. Like, I had the time of my life, man. Like, the boys were amazing. The coaching stuff was amazing. Michael Checker, Matt King, all the support stuff. We had Tony Ayub, one of the best physios in the game. Everyone was just amazing. Robbie Farrell was also assistant coach. We just had a great culture, man. Like, and we honestly believed in doing something special. Like, that first game against the Kiwis, like, we're up at halftime.
Yeah.
Like, we're up at halftime against the Kiwis. Like, unbelievable. And then they ended up putting a score on us by 30, but like, we were in that game, and like, it was just, you know, like, we got to experience so many great things together, and I had such a ball. And again, I had the conversation with Gus, my return as a Bulldogs junior didn't end up working out, and there was only one option, was to go overseas, and my wife fell pregnant. Literally fell pregnant like the day before I jumped on the flight to go, unless the milkman paid me a visit, but paid her a visit. I decided, like, I wasn't going to go overseas. I was going to make a selfless decision and put my family first, which I've never put my family first, and it's very hard to put your family first, especially with our careers.
Well, you kind of can't. You have to be selfish. Yeah,
you can't. And Newtown, I had a bit of connection there. Like, it was a historical club, one of the foundation clubs, and I grew up around the streets of Marrickville and Elwood, and they're based in Newtown, like, and the Henson Park is in Marrickville. And I went there, and I used to kick the footy around, and I'm like, maybe this is the way I'm going to finish. Like, I wasn't really thinking the end there, but if it was the end, I would be content with it. So I went out there, and my final year was with the Mighty Jets.
I think I watched you play a game there at the footy, food and beer festival that they have.
How good was
it? Well, you were playing. I wasn't really watching. I knew that. I was like, there's Josh Mansour. Oh, another beer. Yeah, mate. What a day. What a day that is.
I am attending that, and I'll be on the hill this time around.
Yeah, mate,
we can go together.
It's a great day. It's a great day out. They do, like, it's so cool. Like all the little beer tents, great atmosphere.
Yeah. Ultimate pub crawl, ultimate.
Yeah, mate, there's some great boozers around there. Great boozers.
Yeah.
Well, Sauce, we got 4 questions that we do for each and every guest. It's been a fascinating conversation. The dream spine, so you're 1, 6, 7, 9, that you've either played with, admire, no rules, no regulations.
All time, right?
Whatever you want, mate.
I picked Billy Slater, number 1.
He's a common choice.
Yeah, my eyes, best fullback to play the game. And like, just a legend, just a great fella, student of the game, a guy that really invests a lot of his time into rugby league, and I really admired that about him. Just an ultimate professional, and no surprise of where he came from, especially out of that Melbourne system. Number 6 was the halves was a bit hard. Like number 6, I loved Darren Lockyer growing up. Loved Darren Lockyer just because of his versatility, how he was able to put the number 1 jersey and instantly become the best in the game. He put on the number 6 jersey, was the best in the game. Proud Australian, performed at all levels. So Darren Lockyer was my 6. 7 was difficult. I love playing with Cooper Cronk. I've been blessed. Cooper Cronk, Jonathan Thurston, Nathan Cleary. All those 3 definitely be on the same room together. You know what I mean? They definitely fit around each other. But I'm going to have to pick Jonathan Thurston, I think. Just one of the all-time clutch players. I really wanted to pick Nathan as well, being a bit biased, especially with my relationship with him. But just because of what JT's already accomplished in the game, you know, one of the best halfbacks to put on the Queensland jersey. And I'm not liking it so far because they're all maroons, very maroon. But you know, it is what it is. And number 9, who can go against Cameron Smith? Like, for a guy to play in the middle, the amount of games he's been able to rack up, to be a captain, to win those many premierships, those Origin series, World Cups, and like, for a guy with that status, you'd think he'd have an ego about him. He's got 0 ego. Like, he's so easy to approach, and I'll never forget my first interaction with him. Like, I was so nervous to be around Cameron Smith, but he was just one of the boys. Yeah. Like, one of the best.
It's a cool trait to have that.
Like, he's definitely top 3 players, if the top player to ever play the game. So that's my spine.
Well, it's not about spine. Slater, Lockyer, Thurston, Smith, very maroon coloured. If football didn't exist, what would you be doing? I think we probably answered that a little bit.
It's pretty. I'll be honest. It's pretty. That looks pretty scary. Like I
know the feeling.
I don't want to know what it'll look like, but like I said, rugby league really gave me a life that I'm very fortunate to have. So yeah, I can't really answer that question.
The most interesting person you've met along the way?
I've met a few people which I'm very lucky to have met. Of course, Russell Crowe, the gladiator. Like, what a man. Like, another guy that's so proud to be part of South Sydney. He is South Sydney. He's helped the club to get to where they are. He's one of my favourite all-time actors. My favourite movie is Gladiator. He was my boss. Like, it's crazy. When I first signed my under-20s contract, he was in the room.
Seriously?
Like, Russell Crowe, the Russell Crowe. I remember as well, like, I didn't want to push my relationship with him, but I did. I wanted to get him. I wanted to do a podcast with him, and but he's just such a busy guy. You know, he lives on his farm up in northern New South Wales. I won't mention where he lives, but But the fact that he replied to me, messaged me, he used to message me every single game, along with all my other teammates. He's really he really gets into it.
It's crazy that you've got this A-lister that's like a big footy fan, like a super fan.
Crazy. Chris Hemsworth, off the cuff, like being friends with Russell Crowe and him being the owner of the club, he brought him in the sheds, forced him to get his shirt off to see his amazing rig. That was amazing. It was on camera as well, which is cool. Obviously, Nick Kyrgios, he was a cool cat to meet as well. But, mate, yeah, we're fortunate enough to meet a lot of great people.
Yeah. A sliding doors moment that you think about, or maybe think about the alternative.
Sliding doors moment. So probably a couple. Probably what my career would have looked like after I did my ACL in the 2016 Four Nations, what that would have looked like. And what my career would have looked like if I just put my foot down and told Ivan and Matt Cameron, I want to stay at Penrith at all costs, even if it means me playing reserve grade. I don't care.
Yeah, I guess you never know.
We'll never know, but yeah, life will be definitely different. Definitely.
But you don't know where you'd be.
I think everything happens for a reason. I honestly believe that. Like things happen for a reason, and like if I didn't have all that hardship leading up to the back, like leading up to my retirement, like 3 things hit me at once. Like I had no club. I had a business venture that I put all my eggs in one basket, which did not go according to plan. And then I was having another child that I wasn't at that present time able to support. Like, you know, like I didn't know what I was doing. I was in Building. I was on a dole basically. And, but you just got to adapt. You just got to get on with it. There's no point sulking about it. You know, nothing's perfect. Like I always want things to be perfect, but I've learned to kind of enjoy progress rather than have things perfect.
It's a good way of framing things, that Source.
I think it's
a very good way of framing it. Can you say that again?
Like I rather appreciate the progress rather than things being perfect.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, because if you want it to be perfect and things don't go the way you want it to be, then you don't got you've got no plan B. Like you can't, and it gets to you more if that makes sense. But if you're thinking of progression kind of mindset, like accepting that nothing is perfect. Oh, okay, like you know what, it wasn't my day today. I'll pick it up. Or okay, what did I do wrong here where I can do right next time?
Yeah. Well, perfect's easy. Perfect's boring.
And you don't you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you don't have mistakes. You know, the old saying, you know, like smooth seas don't make a skilled sailor. Like it's the honest truth, though. It's the honest truth.
Yeah, it is.
So, yeah, don't beat yourself up if things don't go pear-shaped from time to time.
No, I know the feeling, mate. Well, Source, I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation.
Likewise,
it's been
Jimmy.
a range of emotion. It's been really good to sit down and talk with you, and really interesting to hear about what you're up to now. And, you know, to our listeners out there, that life isn't linear, successfully speaking. It can rise up, it can go down. Interesting to see how you've adapted to this new life as well, mate. And I wish you all the very best. I was luckily fortunate enough to come on your show, and mate, you're doing a fantastic job there. And mate, it's only going to get bigger and better as well. You've had some fantastic guests on, and mate, people keep coming back because it's a really cool environment that you've got there.
Thank
comfy.
you.
Say what you know. There's no pressure. Although there was a bit of pressure on you to say something.
100%.
But no, it's fantastic, man. I genuinely wish you all the best, mate. And thank you for coming on the Bar Round.
Thanks again, Jimmy.
Cheers, lad.